Tyoran.
Yes.
Thanks for having us. Just going to ask you a few questions just to help out our audience. We want to get to know you a little bit because we know you focus on the luxury side of real estate. So thank you. I appreciate that. So Mark, our first question, I'm sure everybody wants to know, how old were you when you started in real estate?
I was 21.
Wow.
I worked for a title company prior. So I was a messenger rep for a title company. So
nice.
Back then they gave me a car and a CB radio. I'm like, okay, pick up Esco instructions here, drop them there. This agent needs a key for a house. I was a runner.
That's awesome.
So a title rep runner, and then everyone said, oh, you should sell. So I said, okay.
So how long were you a title rep before you switched over?
I wasn't actually a rep. That would have been
title.
nice. I was just a runner. I was a messenger. So I was doing that for a year.
Nice. Yeah. And then you just switched over into real estate.
Yeah,
right
got my
after.
license and
So how long
started out.
How long did it take for you to actually get your first deal?
Ooh, that's a long time ago. 6 months.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah.
Was your first deal like $20 million or
no.
$50 million?
I looked like I was 12, so I was like selling condos, going after young people, doing open houses. So yeah.
Nice.
No, yeah.
So how'd you get started initially? Just condos, townhomes, locally?
I came in at 7 and called expireds.
Oh wow.
So all I did was expireds. So we had an old MLS book, and I would go through the whole book and circle that month. It was in a book.
Wow.
So I would go through and I'd write down page 17, square 1, that's expiring on the 1st. I'd go through the entire book. And on the 2nd, it was page 27, the listing in the right corner. So I do the whole MLS book for every month.
Crazy.
And then call at 7 in the morning, go home and have dinner, come back and start calling at 7 at night.
Nice.
I just did expireds.
And how long did you do that before something hit?
Oh, no, I was like sort of king of expired. It was great.
Oh, really?
So I got that down.
And was this locally?
Yeah, all here. All
Wow.
Conejo Valley.
Conejo Valley.
Yeah.
Nice.
So just expireds.
Well, tell us about the easiest transaction you've ever had.
They're not that difficult. So a lot of...
I love the change. Let's go. So good.
But I had one last week. So I'm away in Miami. Someone says they got a friend thinking about selling a certain house. They said, I know someone who wants to buy that plan. So I arranged for them to go over and see it with the seller there. Seller showed the house. They loved it, and we're in escrow. I still haven't seen the house, but it's $1.7 million.
Hey, I love that.
3-week close, and then the seller gets the cash, and the seller gets to stay in the house for another month because it was too fast.
Wow.
So yeah, that was easy.
So that sounds pretty easy.
Yeah.
And great. How did you get to that point? I mean, what did you decide finally in your life and say, you know what, I want to go into luxury, or was it something that you just kind of were bumped into?
I wanted to do it. I always kind of wanted to do fewer transactions, higher volume.
Okay.
So I didn't, there's some great people out there that do 300-400 transactions. That would make me nuts. So I figured if I could do fewer transactions, higher volume, that would be great. Nice. So that was really the premise. And plus I like luxury. I mean, it's great to go in an incredible home, a gorgeous place, and they're nice. And the sellers are different too. They're like, okay, sure. I'm like, we need to reduce it, Okay, what do you think? You tell them, and like, all right, if that's what you think. So it's easier. The lower the price, the more fight there is for, listen, it's just a different category. It's far easier in luxury. Once you're there, the transactions are pretty simple.
Nice. So how did you get into that world?
It took a while. So I would do open houses in an area out here called North Ranch. So it's a high-end area. So at the time I didn't have stuff there. So I asked this one agent, and I sat there listening. I said, listen, I want to sit it every weekend till it sells. So I had my signs out there. I did the kind of approach. I paid someone, kid with a truck. I had 20 or 25 signs.
Wow.
And so they put my signs out every weekend all around North Ranch, leading to this one house. And I would have CMAs and stuff, and people would come by and see the house, and they'd come by again. And so my signs were always there, and they were everywhere. He would drop them back at the side of my house, after he was done. I think I paid him like $20. And
$20, drop off signs at every corner.
Everywhere. Put them everywhere.
Smart idea.
And so I just had signs everywhere, and it kind of got started, and then it takes a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took a while. Perfect. So now that you're doing a majority luxury,
Mm-hmm.
what would you say you use as your marketing now? I mean, do you do online marketing? Do you do mailers? Do you just call your sphere, past clients? What is it that you do?
So the biggest return are the mailers.
Okay.
Because they go to my farm area. So everyone gets your stuff, and this is where the farming and longevity starts to take over. Mm-hmm. So people start to get your stuff. People start to just call you to come over and sell their house. So really it's the farming and the mailers. I've had people leave a key under their mat for me and say, yeah, go ahead, you can show the house. I've only spoken to them on the phone, and it's a house for $3-4 million. I've never met them.
Wow.
So because they've had my mailers for so many years, so people feel comfortable, like they know me. So people invite me over, and they'll do what I say. Okay, we need to paint, we need to re-carpet, we need to, okay, because they've seen that I've sold things. So it's that odd bit of credibility you get from them seeing that I keep selling things, like, oh, well, he knows what he's doing. Yeah. So they listen to you too. All
right, so besides the mailers, do you do anything else? Call up your past clients, sphere?
To get new business?
To get new business, yeah.
So,
open houses still?
Yeah, I'm doing one this weekend. It's a house in Malibu, but it's
nice.
It's $17 million. So I'm like, all right, I'll do it.
They pulled you. Come on, it's $17 million.
So, not so much anymore. Right. I'd rather be, home with the kids or doing other stuff. I've kind of I kind of passed that, thank goodness. But yeah, so no, open houses are great though.
All right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So what advice would you give somebody, a newer agent or even a veteran agent who wants to get into luxury? What would be the number one thing you'd say, hey, do this and do it well?
Go see all the homes on Caravan. So I still see them all. That's one thing I do. Every broker tour, I go see all the homes, all the preview stuff, because then you get to know the market. So you really have to feel comfortable, because you can sit at a house that's 5,000 square feet in North Range here. Mm-hmm. And I think last year, one sold at sort of 1.7, one sold at 2.6. Mm-hmm. Same square footage. You have to be comfortable to go and sit in someone's house and say, listen, this should be the price. You shouldn't be 2.4, that's too much. So you have to really know what all the pricing is, and really you get to know that by going to see everything, knowing everything out there, because you're just like, oh, that one sold at this price, this one sold at this price. You have to feel very comfortable with the market. Plus, I can go into any house and tell you exactly where that price should be. No hesitation.
So that experience of continually seeing homes at that price makes you feel comfortable in that price range too. Correct. Got it.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to see it, and then they just feel more comfortable that they've seen you around a lot of properties. And, the fact that you sell them, they feel like, oh, you know what you're doing.
Got it. And how long have you been in real estate?
28 years.
28 years? What keeps you motivated? What still wakes you up in the morning and says, you know what, I love real estate. This keeps me going. This drives me. What does that?
Well, going on lots of vacations keeps you motivated, because honestly, you need to feel better about coming back. I try and get away as much as possible. And you have to kind of take control of the business so it doesn't bring you down. Like, you can't be on the phone in the evening. I mean, I have on my iPhone, Monday through Friday, the phone has an alarm at 6. Mm-hmm. Turn off the phone, gets turned over, I'm done. Because otherwise I can be on the phone all day, you flip it over and you can return emails and texts, and so every day the alarm goes off at 6. So you pretty much can't reach me because I can't open an escrow at 6:30. Listen, if something's important or in the middle of a big counter, yes. But other than that, no.
I like that. So you have time for yourself to relax and to...
Then you feel better, because if you're running ragged, because there's a million things, and there's always a million things in real estate. Things pop up, new listings pop up, emails come in. You get bogged down like, I mean, I'm having lots of fun now, because I think I have better control of the business, my time, not trying to work on the weekends, and stopping at 6, and
When did you change that in your life?
Past number of years. I mean, you have to get to a certain point. You can't just jump out and start doing that.
So obviously, I can't just start doing that as a new agent. Be like, hey, I'm not answering my phone after 6.
Well, you know what? You maybe start that way and listen. Things have changed because people are all over you now with every aspect. It's okay. True. Sometimes leave you phone, message. You've got office message. You have text. You have emails. I mean, everyone's trying to reach you. So it's
very true.
I think you'll be more motivated. I think if you're happier in the business. And you're happier when you're not feeling as though you're so weighted to the business. It's like, oh, I've got so much to do. I think, you have to cut it off, and then you feel better about it.
I agree with you. So, obviously, selling luxury and selling a regular residential property, it's different.
Yeah.
Different things. What do you think is different on the listing side for marketing than it is for just a regular home?
I would say that's probably similar.
Okay.
They just want different stuff. I mean, I don't do any print media or any advertising in that regard. I haven't in 10 years.
Okay.
So mine's only internet. I tell people when I go on an appointment, when you buy the next car, did you run down and get the newspaper? Did you wait to get the Sunday paper and look at? No one ever does that. So I said, I don't do anything that's in print, media, magazines, all of those things. And they're all kind of shocked. Really? I said, listen, when you start looking at real estate, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to go online or go down and get sort of Homes and Land magazine at the car wash and try and find a house? You're going to go online. So I set up the best photographers, best pictures, best website. Everything has to be great because it's all online. So there's no print media. So I tell them that up front.
Very nice. All right, I like that. Now, how many years were you in the business before you hired an assistant? And at what point do you think somebody should hire an assistant?
I waited too long. You should hire an assistant right away.
All right.
Because there's too much stuff going on in the business nowadays to not have an assistant. So my first assistant I shared with 2 other people. So there was 3 of us.
Oh, nice. That's smart.
So you have to get a full-time assistant. You can't have one Monday, Wednesday, Friday because stuff happens Tuesday and Thursday at odd times and someone needs to jump on it.
That's true.
So go full-time, but then share. So I think it worked out, $1,000. I think we're paying $3,000 something a month or whatever it was. So it was $1,000 per person, which was great to have a full-time assistant. So kind of found some people in the office that had similar production and amount of deals, and so we all shared. So we had a full-time assistant, and the phone rang at the desk with each name, and so they would answer.
That's smart.
So, but you need to do that right away. I think that's one of the best things for the business. You have to have an assistant.
So let's say we're looking for an assistant to hire. What is the number one thing that somebody should look for when hiring an assistant? What do you look for?
I usually have other people hire.
That's awesome.
And then I get the find lists.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people will end up calling.
Yeah.
So listen, I think someone you feel as though you can work with, sometimes it might not work out. And then people have to learn your systems and how things go. But listen, obviously presentable if they're going to be out, showing properties and doing things for you. But, multitasking, because things come in, someone will call me up and say, I want to show this house. So we have to set appointments and call sellers. Then we have escrow stuff we have to open, and then inspections, and then you're jumping around. It's not like, okay, I'm going to do this now, then I'll jump to this thing. You're going from here to there, back to here. So you have to be good at multitasking. That's that whole disc thing and those, that mind stuff that I have someone else kind of ferret out.
Yeah.
And then I'll speak with the finalists.
Nice. So, Mark, how do you stay visible to people besides just the mailers? Do you do any other activities? Do you call people on their birthdays, past clients for you?
So I had in Top Producer, there's you can do like birthdays. So every house had a birthday, which was the house anniversary. So I put it under birthday. So the day of close of escrow was a birthday. So every year I would call them on the house anniversary. I'd say, happy house anniversary. You've been there 9 years. I'm coming over, it's time to move.
Nice.
Been there too long. You're hurting the business. How are things going? So so house anniversary I would call them.
Nice.
But mostly because they get my mailers every month, and I try and do it every 3 weeks. So they're always seeing me.
All right. So you're always visible to them.
Yeah.
So what aren't you currently doing right now that you'd like to move into? Something that you're aspiring to do in real estate.
That I'm not doing, I want to move into. I don't know on that.
Like you want to cover all of Malibu, maybe
no,
Calabasas?
Potentially, expand maybe a team concept. So I could have a step out of it a bit and have other people doing more things. Oh. Because eventually, at some point, I've created a nice business, but I want to be out of it, let's say, or not be in it as much, and have it run itself and have people there. And so that's a transition, because right now it's Mark Tyoran. It's not a group or a team or anything of that nature.
All right, and I think you're pretty techy. I've seen some of your stuff online. Nice website. I like it. Pictures. What type of database do you use? What company do you use to put all of your people in?
Top producer.
And how do you like that so far?
I don't use. Listen, I have my assistant use it, but it's a glorified database for me. I don't use all the stuff. It's got too many things. Probably has some great things I'm missing out on, but right now I just use that as my database because you can add extra fields, square footage, and things, and the anniversary date, and it's real estate related. But I don't use the other stuff.
Nice. Just so people understand how the luxury part of it works, because it takes money to reinvest into the business. Do you know what percentage you reinvest into marketing, or if you could take a guess?
It's not a percentage, but it's small. I mean, I'm in business. I'm going to keep it all.
Yeah.
So I'm not. I mean, you'll see people out here that throw everything at. Okay, I've got 5 pages of magazines. I'm in this magazine. I'm in that magazine. Not there. Because I don't feel as though you get the return on these magazines. It's great visually because people are always showing the magazine. But I know that a lot of people start calling because of the magazine. So I try to keep as much as possible is really my goal. So I run very skinny on what I put back in. So my mailers, it's a couple thousand a month. There's no magazine ads, so it's probably... in mail-out cost, maybe a couple thousand. So not a lot.
Very good.
No, I mean, obviously there's cost of each listing.
Well, yeah. And in your system.
But monthly cost stuff in marketing, minimal.
All right, so if somebody was just starting off, a real estate agent, just not in luxury, not anything, just in general, what would be some advice you could give that agent to start off well?
Just start farming from day one. I mean, that's probably something I should have started earlier. And I probably have a bigger market share of the area that I work. But farming. I mean, you really, because it's so funny what happens with farming. People just end up calling you. Because everyone's going into, I got to prospect every day, prospect, to get new stuff. And yes, that's good, and you need to when you get up and running. But once you start farming and you cultivate your farm and people know you and people call you, it starts to work in reverse. Now they start to call you. They want you to come over and give them advice. Should we add on to the house? Would you mind coming over and giving us that advice? So, the farming thing is great. Be consistent, hit your farm, give them, pertinent information. I mean, not crap, but, give them good stuff. And they love it. I mean, I do market stats and things that sold and percent increase over the last 6 months to last year to this year. I mean, but good data that they go, oh yeah, look, the market from first 6 months of last year versus first 6 months of this year, it's up 7.8%. And here's the average price per foot versus, people go, wow, that was great. And people will send me an email, I really liked your piece.
Nice.
So, so farm, but give them good info.
Okay.
Real estate info,
That's
not other
great
stuff
advice.
info.
I agree. Perfect, man. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Of course.
Thanks, Mark.